In the previous video, we saw that when we run our Docker container locally on systems port number 8501, we can actually access the application on a local host. And we saw that the application was in the running state, but after a while it crashes. And that is because the application logic, which is responsible for fetching the OpenAI's API key from the secrets manager, is not actually running. We discussed why that happens, and we also discussed a solution to that problem. So the focus for this video would be to build that solution, that is to create a role and attach the required policies, which will actually help us inject the respective OpenAI API key inside a Docker container. But before we do that, we need to understand like how exactly are we building the solution. So to understand that solution process, we first need to identify or basically pick a deployment strategy. So in this course, the deployment strategy which I have chosen for scaling out our application is Elastic Container Service. All you need to do is basically on your console, just search for ECS, Elastic Container Service, and you'll basically come across this page. Just go back now. So once you come across this, you can see that Elastic Container Service, it's a fully managed service offered by AWS. It's native to them. Just like Kubernetes offered by Google or EKS, which comes under the name EKS on AWS, Elastic Container Service is another way to deploy your machine learning powered applications. In our case, it's an LLM powered application at scale. Depending on the kind of workload your application receives, more number of Docker container images are added and your application gets scaled out so that it never crashes. There are different deployment strategies which you can take, like configuration strategies which you can take. You can use Elastic Container Service in combination with EC2, where you as a user has to monitor the number of instances which are running, or you can basically use Fargate. With AWS Fargate in combination with ECS, you're basically running your application in a serverless fashion. That is, you don't need to worry about the number of servers which are currently running. Even if your workload is less, the extra added servers would be removed, and if your workload becomes high, more servers will be added accordingly. So we will be choosing Elastic Container Service in combination with AWS Fargate so as to build and scale out our application. So with that understanding, what we need to understand is Elastic Container Service has an option for clusters. These clusters in turn uses task definitions. And these task definitions are the ones which actually uses your container registry. So just I'm going to re-emphasize on that fact. We first have clusters. We first build a cluster. Each cluster has a task definition. A task definition in turns uses your container image. So if you want to make sure that your secrets get passed to your Docker container image, we need to build a role which combines your task definitions with with the secrets manager. That is, it combines your task definition that under ECS with the secrets manager. And with this understanding, what we will do next is basically we'll search for IAM. With under IAM, we'll try to create a new role, and you can do that by going under roles. So once we are here, I'm just going to check like I don't have any other role for which combines my ECS with my secrets manager. So I'm going to create a new one. So let me just click on create role. When you come to this page, just choose the first option, which is AWS service, because ultimately you're going to use a service offered by AWS. The other options are for account and for custom trust policy. We don't need that. Under use case, choose for Elastic Container Service. And once you choose this, under the following use case, we will choose Elastic Container Service task. That is the task definition which I just talked about. So we are going to create a role for our Elastic Container Service, and we are going to attach policies for Elastic Container task. Once we do that, we click on next, and we won't be attaching any permissions or policies right now, but we will be doing that in a while. So just click on next again, and we need to give it a name. So let's just give it a name, and let's just call it ECS dash task dash execution dash role dash secret. So ECS dash task dash execution dash role dash secret. So that's the name which we're going to give, and we'll be making changes to this particular trust policy. Just remember that it should reflect exactly the same. So, and when you were, if we I'm just going to go back and do this again for you guys. Just click on AWS service and here just look out for Elastic Container Service. And from this option, again, choose Elastic Container Service task. It's cluster. Your Elastic Container Service creates a cluster. That cluster relates back to a task, and then task actually uses the Docker container image. So just go back here again, click on next, click on next. It's ECS task execution role secret. That's the name which we're giving. We won't be adding any more permissions right now, but we'll be adding that after this step. So that particular role has been created now. So let's just copy this role. Under search, we'll look for that specific role, and that is the role which we have just created. And let's just go ahead and click on that. So once this role is created, now we need to attach certain policies. And the way we do that is by going under add permissions and we click on create inline policy. So under inline policy, you'll be shown this screen. Just go to JSON. And this is exactly where we'll be making some more changes. So to make those changes, all we need to do is basically in a new tab, like just duplicate this in a new tab, search for your secrets manager and open and basically click on the secret which you have created. Your secret name value could be different. Mine is something else, or you could basically use the same name. And we'll be using this secret ARN. And under action, we basically create like a space and we type in secrets manager and colon, the value is secrets manager, and the value is get. Actually, let me just paste this value so that I don't make any spelling mistake here. Get secret value. Okay, so I'll explain what this means. And under resource, we'll paste the ARN, that is the complete ARN of our secret, all the way. Like my secret name was OpenAI underscore key, and then the secret manager adds these 6 extra characters to my key. So, but we won't be just copying this, we will be copying the entire thing. So just copy on secret ARN and in quotation marks, we'll just paste it here. If you don't if you remove quotation marks, it will throw an error. Okay, so we'll just add quotation marks. Now let's try to understand what this policy means. And we won't be needing this. Okay. So let's just try to understand what exactly is happening here. So basically, we have created a policy and we are telling the policy that, hey, I need you to access the secrets manager and I want you to get me my secret value. And I want you to fetch this secret value from this ARN. And if you guys remember, this ARN basically corresponded to our OpenAI, that is API key, which we have created. If you click on this retrieve secret value, you'll be able to see your OpenAI API key and the corresponding key value. So that is exactly what's happening. That is, I'm telling my policy, that newly created policy, that I want you to access the secrets manager, and from that I want to get my secret value, and I want you to get the secret value from this resource, that is this particular resource which we have just given. And once we do this, we click on next and we need to give it a name. So the name could be anything, for example, ECS, and let's say task and secret. That's the name which we're going to give. This name could be anything. And let's just go ahead and create our policy. The policy has been created. Now we also need to make sure. Now what we have done is basically for ECS, like Elastic Container Service and Elastic Container Service task, we have attached one policy, but this particular role would also require one more permission which needs to be added, and that is the ECS task execution role. So to do that, we go here and we click on the first option now. Last time we clicked on the second option, now we click on the first option. So all we need to search for is Amazon ECS task execution role policy, and we just go ahead and click on this. So once we do that, you can click on, don't give this full access. I mean, for your application which you're developing locally, you can go ahead and do that, but I'll just do this. Click on add permissions. So these two particular policies have now been added to your this respective role, and we will now be using this role when we create our ACS cluster, so which we will do in the next video. So I'll see you in the next video now.